Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my 4-part series where I go over 4 true crime cases that left a mark on 2025. In today's video, we discuss the Idaho student murders, a case in which 4 University of Idaho students were killed by a complete stranger. Before I get into the video, I need to say, please do not send hate to anyone mentioned in this video. This video is made for entertainment purposes only. On November 13, 2022 at 11:58 a.m., 19-year-old students Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk called 911 to report that their roommates hadn't yet woken up and that there was suspicious activity in the house the night before. Dylan and Bethany had been living in Moscow, Idaho at 1122 King Road, along with their roommates Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogan, and Zana Kernodle. Zana's boyfriend, Ethan Chapin, had also spent the night at the house. All 6 were students at the University of Idaho. Shortly after the 911 call was placed, Moscow police officer Mitch Nunez arrived at the house. Expecting a routine unconscious person call, once inside, he quickly realized that something was very wrong in the King Road home. He locked down the house from outside visitors and called backup. When more police officers arrived at the King Road residence, they were met with a scene of shocking violence. On the 2nd floor, they discovered Zana Kernodle inside her bedroom, unresponsive, surrounded by evidence of a brutal attack. In the same room, Ethan Chapin was also found dead. As officers continued their search upstairs, they made another grim discovery. In the 3rd floor bedroom, Kaylee Goncalves and Madison Mogan were found lifeless, lying together in Kaylee's bed. Inside the house, investigators found a tan leather K-bar knife sheath on the bed next to Madison Mogan's body in the 3rd floor bedroom, where she and Kaylee Goncalves were discovered. The sheath had a K-bar logo and a U.S. Marine Corps insignia stamped on it, the kind typically used with military-style combat knives. Outside Dylan Mortensen's bedroom door on the 2nd floor, investigators found a bloody shoe print. It appeared to come from a Vans-style shoe, and the size suggested it belonged to a male. According to Dylan, one of the 2 surviving roommates, she awakened around 4 a.m. by what she thought was Kaylee playing with her dog. A short time later, she believed she heard one of her roommates say, "There's someone here." She looked out of her bedroom but didn't see anything. After hearing more noises, including crying from Zana Kernodle's room and a male voice saying, "It's okay, I'm going to help you," she opened her door again. This time, she saw a figure dressed entirely in black. The person was wearing a mask that covered their mouth and nose, and she noticed they had distinctive, bushy eyebrows. Dylan said the man walked right past her and headed toward the sliding glass door in the kitchen as she stood there frozen in shock, unable to move. After he left, she quickly retreated to her bedroom and locked the door. Within hours of the murders, police issued an urgent appeal to the public for help. Because this was a heinous crime in a small town and investigators needed more evidence, they asked residents to share any doorbell cam footage, dash cam recordings, or anything unusual they had noticed. A neighbor's security camera, located less than 50 feet from the victims, captured a car circling the area several times between 3:30 and 4:20 a.m. The car can be seen entering the King Road street and leaving it multiple times. Starting at 4:17 a.m., the security camera picked up audio of a dog barking repeatedly. Shortly after that time, muffled audio can be heard of what sounded like voices or a whimper followed by a loud thud. 3 minutes later, at 4:20 a.m., the same car that had made several passes down King Road was seen speeding away from the area. Thanks to multiple surveillance videos, police were able to determine that the vehicle seen near the crime scene was a white 2015 Hyundai Elantra. Investigators noticed that the car had no front license plate, only a rear one. Because Idaho requires both front and rear plates, This detail suggested to police that the car likely belonged to someone from out of state. After releasing the car's description, investigators obtained security footage from Washington State University. The footage showed a white Elantra leaving Pullman in Washington State around the time of the murders and returning a few hours later. Additional gas station footage in Moscow captured what appeared to be the same car heading toward the victim's neighborhood. Police eventually determined that the vehicle was registered to one Bryan Kohberger. Bryan Kohberger was a 28-year-old criminology Ph.D. student and teaching assistant at Washington State University in Pullman, Washington, just across the border from Moscow, Idaho. He had previously studied psychology and earned both a bachelor's and master's degree in criminal justice, where he focused on criminal behavior and offender psychology. By late 2022, Kohberger had moved to Pullman and was living in a student apartment complex about 15 minutes from the house where the murders occurred. After identifying Bryan Kohberger as one of the possible suspects, the police went and searched through his cell phone data, and what they found was extremely suspicious. Police believed the murders occurred between 4 and 4:25 a.m. on November 13th. At 2:47 a.m., Kohberger's phone abruptly stopped connecting to the network, which investigators say means it was either turned off or put into airplane mode. Just minutes after that, at 3 a.m., a white Hyundai Elantra, believed to be his, was seen on surveillance video entering the King Road neighborhood. During the crucial window of 4 to 4:20 a.m., his phone stayed completely disconnected, leaving no digital trace of his location. At 4:48 a.m., it powered back on, south of Moscow near Blaine Road, appearing to move in the direction of Pullman, Washington. By about 5:30 a.m., the phone pinged near his apartment, suggesting he had returned home. Then, at 9 a.m., his phone traveled back toward Moscow and pinged in the area of the crime scene between 9:12 and 9:21 a.m. Investigators believe he may have returned to see whether police had arrived or to observe what was happening. Even though investigators had a great deal of evidence pointing toward Bryan Kohberger, they still needed proof that he had been inside the King Road house. While examining the knife sheath left in Madison Mogen's bedroom, crime lab technicians discovered a single-source male DNA profile on the button snap. They ran the sample through the national database but found no matches. This indicated that the DNA did not belong to anyone with a recorded criminal history. With no direct match, investigators turned to investigative genetic genealogy to search for possible relatives of the unknown DNA profile. Because Bryan Kohberger was identified as the owner of the white Hyundai Elantra seen near the crime scene in the early morning hours of November 13th, investigators sought to determine whether the DNA from the scene matched his. By mid-December 2022, Bryan Kohberger had moved back to his parents' house in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. This discovery prompted FBI agents to conduct surveillance at the Kohberger home and to collect Bryan's father's DNA from the household trash. Lab analysis showed the father's DNA was a strong parental match to the sheath DNA, indicating the sample likely came from one of his biological sons. With all this evidence, police arrested Bryan Kohberger at his parents' house on December 30th, 2022. After his arrest, they collected a DNA sample from him, which perfectly matched the DNA found at the crime scene. The same day he was arrested, he was charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder for the killings of Madison Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves, Zana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. Additionally, he was charged with 1 count of felony burglary in connection with the crime. Bryan Kohberger pleaded not guilty to all 4 charges, and if found guilty in the court was facing the death penalty. His trial was initially set to begin on August 11, 2025. However, the trial was canceled after Kohberger reached a plea deal with prosecutors just weeks before it was supposed to start. He formally pleaded guilty to 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary in order to avoid the death penalty. Bryan Kohberger was sentenced on July 23, 2025. He received 4 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole for the murders, plus 10 years for the burglary. Since Bryan pleaded guilty, there was no trial and no opportunity for the prosecution to fully present their case. Several questions remain unanswered, including the biggest one: motive. There is still no clear explanation for why Bryan would specifically target these 4 students. Did he know any of them? Was he attempting to carry out a crime similar to those he studied in his criminology courses? Or was he simply a disturbed individual who didn't need a motive to kill? That's all for today's video. Thank you for watching. I'm really curious to hear what you think Bryan's motive might have been. Do you believe he ever crossed paths with any of the 4 Idaho students? Or is it possible he acted spontaneously with no clear motive at all? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. Until next time, bye.